Long before cities rose with their tall walls and bustling markets, long before ships crossed oceans and stories were written in books, humans lived in a world shaped by survival, curiosity, and community. The ancient life of humans was simple in some ways but unimaginably hard in others. It was a life ruled by the earth, by the rhythm of the sun and moon, and by the struggle to endure. Life as hunter-gatherers. The earliest humans lived as hunter-gatherers, moving constantly in search of food. They did not have farms, villages, or permanent houses. Instead, they roamed forests, grasslands, and riversides, following the herds of wild animals and collecting fruits, nuts, and roots from the land. A day in the life of a hunter-gatherer family might begin at dawn. Men and older boys often set out with sharpened wooden spears, stone-tipped arrows, or simple traps, searching for deer, wild boar, or smaller animals. The women, along with children, gathered berries, mushrooms, edible plants, and firewood. Together, these roles ensured survival. Food was never guaranteed. Some days, hunters returned empty-handed, and the family had to rely on dried nuts or wild tubers. Other times, a successful hunt meant days of feasting, with meat roasted over open flames and bones cracked to suck out the rich marrow. Nothing was wasted. Skins became clothing, sinews became string, and bones became tools. Shelter and clothing. Early humans made shelters from whatever nature provided. In warm regions, caves offered natural protection, but where caves were scarce, people built huts from branches, leaves, animal hides, or even mammoth bones. These shelters were temporary, since groups moved whenever food grew scarce. Clothing, too, was practical. In colder areas, animal skins were scraped, softened, and stitched together with bone needles. In warmer places, less clothing was needed, but ornaments, shells, feathers, beads, were worn as decoration or symbols of status and belief. Fire, a gift of survival. Perhaps the greatest discovery of ancient humans was fire. At first, it must have seemed like a wild, terrifying force, only appearing when lightning struck trees. But learning to control it changed everything. Fire provided warmth on cold nights, light in the darkness, and protection from predators. It also transformed food. Roasting meat made it easier to chew and digest, while boiling plants made them safer to eat. Fire became the heart of the community. Families gathered around flames to share food, stories, and songs. In its glow, humans began to dream, imagine, and wonder. Tools and early inventions. Stone was humanity's first great material. Sharp flakes cut meat, scraped hides, and carved wood. Over time, humans learned to shape stones more skillfully, creating hand axes, blades, and arrowheads. Bone and wood also became important materials for tools and weapons. These simple inventions opened the path to survival and creativity. A sharpened stick turned into a spear meant hunters could strike from a distance. A stone axe meant trees could be cut, shelters built, and firewood gathered. With every new tool, life grew a little easier and safer. The rise of art and belief. Though survival was always the first concern, ancient humans also showed a deep sense of imagination. In caves across Europe, Asia, and Africa, they painted animals, handprints, and mysterious symbols. Some figures were detailed, showing hunters chasing bison or mammoths, others were abstract, full of mystery. Why did they paint? Some scholars believe the paintings were part of rituals, magic to ensure good hunts, or a way to honor spirits of the animals. Others think they were storytelling, an early form of history. Whatever the reason, these works show that humans had developed more than survival instincts. They had culture, belief, and creativity. Burial practices also reveal belief in something beyond life. Graves from tens of thousands of years ago show bodies carefully placed with tools, ornaments, or food, as if prepared for a journey into another world. This suggests that ancient humans already wondered about death, spirits, and the unknown. The agricultural revolution. For countless generations, humans lived as nomads. But about 10,000 years ago, a great change began. In the fertile valleys of the Middle East, Asia, Africa, and the Americas, people discovered that seeds planted in the soil could grow into crops. Instead of wandering to find food, they could settle in one place and farm. This agricultural revolution was the turning point in human history. Villages appeared, then towns, and eventually great cities. People began to raise animals like goats, sheep, and cattle for milk, meat, and labor. Clay pots stored grain, woven baskets carried harvests. With farming came new challenges. Settled life meant protecting land, building stronger shelters, and organizing communities. Leaders emerged to make decisions, and social structures grew. Not everyone needed to hunt or farm, so some became toolmakers, potters, or traders. Life was no longer just about survival, it was about society. Ancient community and cooperation. Even before farming, survival demanded cooperation. A single hunter could not take down a mammoth, but a group working together could. Women gathering plants shared their knowledge of which foods were safe and which were poisonous. Fire was guarded and shared, never wasted. As settlements grew, cooperation expanded. People built irrigation systems to water crops, walls to defend against raiders, and granaries to store food. Storytelling and oral traditions carried knowledge from one generation to the next, ensuring survival skills, beliefs, and lessons were never lost. Hardships of ancient life. Despite progress, life in ancient times was harsh. Illnesses and injuries were constant threats, with no doctors or medicine beyond herbs and simple remedies. Childbirth was dangerous, and many children did not survive past infancy. Famine struck when crops failed, and predators or rival groups could threaten safety. Yet, through resilience, humans endured. They adapted to deserts, forests, mountains, and icy plains, spreading across the earth. Each environment shaped their way of life: snow boots made from fur in the north, fishing canoes in coastal regions, and woven baskets in river valleys. The dawn of civilization. By the time farming villages grew into cities, humans had already laid the foundation for civilization. They had language, art, tools, and belief systems. They had learned to adapt, innovate, and cooperate. From those first stone tools to the rise of farming, the story of ancient humans is one of survival and imagination. They lived close to nature, dependent on its gifts and fearful of its dangers. They did not have technology, machines, or modern comforts, but they had courage, skill, and creativity. Legacy of ancient life. The life of ancient humans may seem distant, yet it still lives within us. Our ability to work together, to tell stories, to believe in something greater, and to shape the world with tools, all began in those ancient times. When we look at cave paintings or handle a stone tool in a museum, we see more than objects, we see the beginnings of humanity's journey. Their struggles and triumphs remind us of the resilience at the core of our species. Without their endurance, cooperation, and imagination, the modern world could never have existed.